We've had an overwhelming response to our last video about life sailing with dogs on board. We have received so many great questions that we thought it was time to dive into them in this follow-up video. So today we are going to address some of the most frequently asked questions and give you even more insight into what life is like sailing with our three fluffy companions. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, welcome aboard our floating home ride-all. I'm Daria, this is Chris, and that's Jasper, and these are our three seaworthy dogs, Hachi, Luna, and Mimi. We're just an ordinary family navigating life one sail at a time. In June 2023, we left Scotland behind with no plan to return. We live, sail, and work full-time, all while cruising Europe, for now. Every wave tells a story, and every sail brings us closer to the unknown. We invite you to be part of our adventure as we share our experiences, insights, and the ups and downs of living life on a boat. So, sit back, relax, enjoy, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Where do our dogs poop? The glamorous question of dog poop. Now, if you've seen our previous video, you will know that we have trialed different solutions for this. So here's a quick update on what has been working for us since. When we are underway and the dogs need to go to toilet, it's usually either in the cockpit or on deck. We recently resorted to using puppy pads, usually at the aft of the boat, which they're happy to use these days. However, that is a fairly recent development, and on recent crossings they still held on for more than 24 hours before going to toilet. Not ideal, but we get there in the end. Many of you have asked, where do we keep the dogs when they're on the boat by themselves? Now, we try not to leave them for too long, but when we do, we make sure that they are comfortable and safe inside or outside. Our saloon area, as per our last video, has been adapted to give them space to relax while also keeping them secure. When we leave the boat, we close off the lifelines aft and ensure that they have access to fresh water, access to the inside of the boat should they need to, and their favorite toys and treats. We've done all sorts of short stints like this, and dogs seem to do absolutely fine with their alone time, both at anchor and in a marina. Externally, they love the lounging area on the deck bed or on the bow, watching the world go by, or sometimes they'll just sit in the cockpit. If the weather isn't the greatest, they'll hide inside. They have many options to choose from. This next question I'm a little apprehensive about answering because we haven't sailed in waters with sharks or wildlife that could attack our dogs. But how do we deal with the fear of sharks and close encounters with wildlife? Now, this is a question we got asked a lot after the recent video came out, and although it's understandable, I was a little surprised because it is not something we have particularly considered or put in measures to prevent. We have always kept a close eye on our dogs when they're either in or near the water anyway. So far we haven't had any shark encounters, knock on wood. They are fairly rare to be had in the Mediterranean, but we have seen many dolphins, turtles, and many curious fish. Hachi loves chasing the dolphins up and down on deck, excited with his tail endlessly wagging. And the girls, well, other than alert barking at us that they're there, the girls don't really care about wildlife. Our dogs are usually just as curious as we are. They've never shown any fear, but we do keep them close and supervised, especially in unfamiliar waters. However, we don't let fear dictate our time at sea. How long did it take for the dogs to transition to boat life from land life? Now, our dogs have sailed since they were puppies. It's like second nature to them. They know the boat, they know the routine, and they're happy as long as we're all together. Now, every dog is different, so it's important to give them the time to adjust and not rush the process. However, the transition for us from land life to boat life was fairly easygoing. But again, that's down to the fact that our dogs were brought up on the boat and they just know every in and out of it. Now, the sailors amongst you have asked us whether we worry about the dog hair clogging up the bilge. Living in a small space with three fluffy dogs means that hair, generally speaking, gets everywhere. We regularly vacuum the bilge and we check the bilge pumps to ensure nothing is building up that could cause any sort of issue. And we have found that brushing the dogs often, especially during shedding season, cuts down the amount of hair inside. During summer, when it's warm, there generally has been a lot less hair, as they tend to spend their days and quite often night on deck. Through winter, of course, regular cleanups are just part of maintaining a clean and safe boat, just as you would a house. Have the dogs ever shown discomfort or anxiety during rough crossings? How do we calm them down? Now, we've definitely had some rough crossings in the last couple of years, and the dogs, of course, aren't immune to feeling anxious. They tend to pick up on our stress levels, so if we are calm, it helps them stay calm too. If it's bumpy or windy or we're excessively heeling, we bring them inside where they will feel more comfortable and secure. We've also learned to give them extra attention and reassurance during the times where they need it. Soft talking, extra pets, extra treats, and making sure that they're in a familiar spot all seem to help settle their nerves. Thankfully, they are very resilient and quickly bounce back once the sea settles. We can only recall less than a handful of moments where they were scared, and it was the rare occasions where we had 40 or more like recently 60 knots of wind bashing at us during a storm. It is in those instances that they do get a little bit anxious, but they generally stay inside or nearby us and patiently wait until they get their attention and faster after. This is another one I'm not entirely sure how to answer because it is not something that we've particularly had to deal with, but how do we handle seasickness if any of the dogs experience it? Now, so far, as I say, we've been very lucky that none of our dogs suffer from seasickness. However, we are always prepared for it. We carry seasickness medication that's suitable for dogs, just in case, and we make sure that they stay hydrated, especially on longer passages. If one of them ever shows signs of seasickness, we'll make sure to keep them hydrated and comfortable and slow the boat down if we can. Monitoring their body language and keeping an eye out for any unusual behavior is key. Though, like I said, so far, fingers crossed, this has never been a problem. So last but not least, a frequent question was, how do we manage the dog's food and water supply? Do we need to buy extra water? So with 3 dogs, managing food and water while cruising is definitely a logistical consideration, and it mostly relates to having to carry endless 20-kilogram bags of dog food back to the boat wherever we are. We always carry enough dog food to last us through longer passages. We store it in airtight containers or unopened bags to keep it fresh. Where possible, we will stock up on dog food to last us months, and we will store it at the back of the cabin where the dogs sleep. We always make sure to have plenty of fresh water available at all times, especially when the weather is warm. We use collapsible water bowls or dog water dispensers for when we are on the move. We don't need to buy any extra water as we make all of our fresh water supplies through our water maker. Living and sailing with dogs has its unique challenges, but we wouldn't trade it for anything. They bring us so much joy and adventure, and seeing the world through their crazy little eyes is just something special. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time!